Good evening, everyone. It's an honor to be here for this Matchday -1 press conference ahead of Paris Saint-Germain Inter tomorrow in the Champions League final. We're here with our head coach Simone Inzaghi, our captain Lautaro Martinez, and our vice-captain Nicolò Barella. We'll start with questions for Nicolò Barella, then we'll move on with questions for Lautaro Martinez, and we'll finish up with questions for our head coach. We'll start immediately with questions for Nicolò Barella. And we'll start with Rai Sport. Thank you. Hi, Nicolò. Thomas Villa, Rai Sport. 15 years ago, before a final, Samuel Eto'o said, "You don't play finals, you win them." Of course, he was referring to heart, desire, determination, going the extra mile. Are you ready to play a performance like that? Of course, we're absolutely ready. We're really motivated for it. We've got a lot of respect for the opposition. They're a very strong side, but we need to do our bit, and we'll try and produce our best football. Because I think after a season like this one, we deserve to win this final.
In English, yes, please. Thank you. So at Inter Milan, the midfield is quite experimented, more than PSG, which is younger and more maybe with younger player. Do you think the final will be win in the midfield tomorrow battle, and what do you expect from the Parisians? Thank you.
They've definitely got a terrific midfield unit, but Paris Saint-Germain are good all over the pitch, otherwise they wouldn't be in the Champions League final. The midfield is always the beating heart of any team, but as I've said, and as I've always said in interviews, our strength has always been our team as a unit, not only in midfield or in the forward line or defensively. We've always made the difference as a squad, as a team. We showed that against Barcelona, that without a great group of players, without a great team, you can't win a match like that against such top opposition in the shape of Barcelona. So we'll try and put out there what we've always shown as a team, which is our ability as a side, so that we can do our best. Hi, Nicolò. I wanted to ask you, from the 10th of June 2023 until today, so from Istanbul until today, how many times have you dreamed about this opportunity again? And how did you imagine it? How did you envisage it? Absolutely. I've dreamed many times to be involved once again in a match such as this, because, as I said, it's a dream come true for any child to be involved in a match like this. They're the hardest games, but they're the ones that do leave their mark. They leave a lot of excitement and emotion in you. Last time against Manchester City, we produced a top-class performance, but ultimately we didn't win. And this time around, we'll hope to be a bit more switched on and focused on the details, given that matches at this level do come down to fine margins, so we'll try and bring home the trophy. This is the dream of all of us. Hi, Nico. Tactical analysis is pointless at this stage. You know each other very well. You're some of the old guard of this Inter side. So what does your heart say to you at this moment in time, in terms of your teammates, in terms of your friends, with regards to this group of men, in terms of what you're experiencing? Personally, all I can do is thank them, because besides giving me absolutely everything, they've allowed me to grow not only as a player but also as a man. Everyone, even the guys that left the club, that experienced triumphs and disasters with us, but they really left their mark, so I can only thank them. Tomorrow out there on the pitch, I'll try and repay everything that they've given me. In terms of everything I've got, I'll try and do not only my all, but to make sure that we win as a whole. Why are you playing in your third jersey, your yellow kit, tomorrow?
Diciamo che siamo confrontati,
We had a chat.
avevamo delle opzioni
There were a number of options on the table,
sulla maglia gialla.
and we went for the yellow shirt.
Niente di particolare, è una maglia che ci
Nothing
piace.
more than that. It's a shirt that we like,
Speriamo anche la maglia ci aiuti in questa
and
finale.
so we hope that their jersey can help us as well in this final.
Ciao Nicolò, Pietro Guadagno, Corriere dello
Hi,
Sport.
Nicolò.
Volevo chiederti quale sarà
I wanted to
il
ask
tuo
you,
pensiero nel momento in cui uscirai dal tunnel dei
what will your
spogliatoi
thoughts be when you step out of the dressing room tomorrow? What will you be thinking?
Il pensiero sarà il pensiero di tutte le partite. Cioè,
I'll be thinking about what I'm thinking about throughout the 90 minutes as a whole. The desire and will to
il
win,
meglio possibile, ripeto,
the desire to play as best we can for my teammates, for everyone that's following us and cheering us on,
sperando di riuscirci.
hoping that we can succeed on that score.
Ora ci sono nel pre-partita ci sono più pensieri di
But there's a lot of things going through your mind on match day -1. But then when you get out there on the pitch, then you need to try and leave all that to one side, both the positive and negative thoughts, and focus on the match at hand.
Scusa, indicavi... Scusa Nicolò.
Sorry, Nicolò. A few days ago, we interviewed Vincenzo Raiola, which is Donnarumma's agent, and he said to us, between Gigio and Alessandro Bastoni, they've already started to have a bit of banter. Have you been involved in this banter as well? And how's the week gone, given you're very good friends with Donnarumma?
Ci siamo sentiti ieri.
No, if I'm perfectly honest, we got in touch yesterday. We spoke about everything other than football.
Abbiamo parlato di famiglia,
We spoke about our families. We spoke about the Italy national team.
con Gigio ho un grandissimo rapporto, è un amico.
I've got a great relationship with Gigio. He's a friend. I've got the utmost respect for him, just as I do all of the Paris Saint-Germain players.
Spero faccia da bravo.
But I hope he behaves tomorrow. I said I hope he behaves tomorrow.
Nicolò, in English, please. I would want to ask about, I'm from Poland, I want to ask about two Polish guys, Piotr Zieliński and Nicola Zalewski. How could you describe him, and do you want Nicola to stay next season with Inter, with you? Thank you.
Posso solo parlare bene di
I've only got good things to say about Zielu and Nicola Zalewski, because as well as being top footballers, they're also great guys as well. Zielinski settled in very well in our squad right from the word go. He had a few injuries,
abbiamo sofferto anche la sua assenza.
so we missed him when he was out for a few games. As for Nicola Zalewski, we need to congratulate him,
Nel quale inserirsi perché
because it is an easy squad to settle into, because we all get on very well with one another, but he was very positive, immediately helped out on the pitch.
dovesse rimanere con noi saremmo
So if Nicola Zalewski were to stay with us, we'd be delighted about that. Thank you.
L'ultima per Nicolò Barella.
Final question for Nicolò Barella.
Prego.
Ciao Nicolò.
Hi, Nicolò.
Facevi qualche gol, qui ne hai fatto uno pesantissimo con la
You scored a huge goal here for Italy at the European Championship.
bloccata anche in questa Champions.
How much are you looking forward to getting your first goal in the Champions League? Because you're scoring a little less than you did 2 years ago.
gol sarebbe una carriera in discesa.
My career would be on the wane if we only looked at my goals.
Non solo i gol.
So luckily in football, it's not only about goals. I try and contribute to the team any which way. If I am able to score goals, of course, I'm delighted about that.
Se domani dovesse arrivare sarei
If I were to find the net tomorrow, I'd be absolutely over the moon. But as I said, the most important thing for me is to make sure that I'm ready to help out the lads, and they deserve everything.
Grazie Nicolò Barella. Cominciamo
Thank you, Nicolò Barella. And I'll start with the questions for our captain, Lautaro Martinez, and we'll start with over here on the right. Thank you.
Hola Lautaro, Javier Alonso de Radio Nacional, aquí al fondo. Tu palmarés es increíble, un Mundial, 2 Copas América, Scudettos, Copas de Italia, te falta una Champions. ¿Qué significaría para ti ganarla? Y luego, ¿qué ha cambiado del equipo con respecto a la final de Estambul de hace 2 años? Gracias.
¿Qué tal? Buenas tardes. Sí, la verdad que sí. me ha tocado cumplir objetivos importantes, me ha tocado ganar un mundial, 2 Copas América, muchas copas con el Inter y seguramente que este es un objetivo que me falta, un objetivo muy importante en la carrera de un futbolista y bueno, contento, feliz, orgulloso de poder jugar una
When you
nueva
think about the
final.
career of a footballer, I'm delighted,
Con lo difícil que es esta
delighted to be
competición
able
y
to be playing a final once
trataremos de
again
mañana
because
hacer
it's
el
very
partido
difficult to play
perfecto
in the
para
Champions
poder
League. It
llevar
is
este
no mean
objetivo
feat, and therefore
a
everyone's going to be
Italia,
trying
a
to pull
Milán
out
que
that perfect
falta
performance
desde hace
tomorrow
muchísimo tiempo.
so that we can hit that objective for Milan because Milan has been waiting a long time for this. Hi, Lautaro. Let me just come back to the comment that was made by my comment previously. The fact that you were world champion and you've also played a World Cup final, which is probably at the highest echelons of football. So how are you going to win the game tomorrow? As I've mentioned previously, the only solution is to put out the perfect performance. The devil was in the detail. Why? Because, yes, it's the last game, and the one that wins tomorrow is the one taking home the silverware. Therefore, we need to be conscious of this. We need to prepare the best we can for the game tomorrow, so that during the game we can focus on what is essential so that we can put up a wall against PSG and hopefully make the most of our preparation. We hope that we'll be able to play the game that we want to play. Hi, Lautaro. I'm from a Mexican press agency. Just want to talk about you on an individual basis. How do you think, or how are you feeling, matchday -1? Are things different for you now compared to other Champions League finals or even World Cup finals? You are a leader, you're a captain of this squad, and you have got all eyes turned on you. So the fact that you're captain, what does that change something for you? Do you think it gives more responsibility? Is there a heavier weight sitting on your shoulders? Yeah, I would say so, but I think that every game is like a final. And yeah, this is the real final because obviously it's the last game of the Champions League. And the one that wins tomorrow, once again, is taking home the silverware. But what's really important for us is that we continue playing the football we've played up until now, do what we know how to do, play with what we've got, play to our strengths, and that's what's going to help us tomorrow. We've got an opponent that we hold the utmost respect for, but with the weapons that we have in our arsenal, I think that we'll be able to hit them where it hurts. But we can't just think about that. We need to think about all the positive aspects as well. Lautaro, over here, please. In the middle. I'm from an Argentinian newspaper. I've got 2 questions. The first is the following. We've spoken about all of the experience that you've racked up, the silverware, the trophies. It's incredible to see your track record. And now here you are with your foot in the door to a new Champions League final. You are on the brink of winning history. Maybe you'll get the Ballon d'Or this year. This is, I'm assuming that you're looking for the back of the net tomorrow. But I've spoken to some of the Italian journalists, and they've been saying that Lautaro Martinez he's actually a lot more holds a lot more esteem in Italy than in Argentina, which is odd for me because you're an Argentinian World Cup winner. What do you think of all of this? Why is there this discrepancy between, as an exaggeration, firstly? I don't know, you're the journalist, you tell me. You're an Argentinian journalist, so what's my reputation in Argentina? I imagine that you know this. You know the daily grind, you know what you guys have been saying about me. But I do think that individual achievements are always in the passenger seat here for me. For me, what's important isn't about me on a personal note. That doesn't mean that I'm not looking to win it, but it's a personal objective. But that main priority for me is to give what I can give to Inter Milan. 15 years, I want to share the joy, the euphoria with all of the fans of Inter Milan. And at the end of the day, that's what it comes down to. I've been playing in Italy for 7 years now. Obviously, the Italian press, they see me all the day, every single day. Yeah, maybe that's why they hold more esteem for me, as you say. But when I play for the Argentinian national squad, I also get good press, I think, in Argentina. What's important for me today is that my teammates and the Inter help us all to grow. But once again, my personal objectives go to one side. Hi, Lautaro.
Do you think this is the best season of your career, given that you've scored 9 goals in the Champions League? Only Hernan Crespo scored 9 Champions League goals in a single season prior to this. I've definitely scored a lot of goals in this season's Champions League. I've played in important matches. But I try to get better day in, day out, both in European club football, internationally, with the national team. That's what's got me this far. What's brought me this far is the fact that I've been trying to improve day in, day out, do my bit for the team, reach my goals, and that's ultimately what matters. I'm happy with how far I've come. I'm pleased that I'm playing in another Champions League final, the second in the space of 3 years. And that comes down to the hard work that I've put in, sacrifice, humility that we've all shown as a unit. Hi, Lautaro. Why do you think this might be the time that Inter can win the Champions League again? What's changed for you and the squad over the last 2 years so that you can once again get even closer to this trophy? We've definitely improved a great deal as a team. We've developed, we've grown. We've come up against some top-class opponents in some very challenging arenas. And we were up against teams that had long, unbeaten home records. Yet we turned up there, we played our football, we showed what we're all about, and we've earned respect in this competition. And as I said before, we've got our heads down, we've worked hard, we've focused on ourselves, we've got into where we are. And as I said earlier on, we've got the opportunity to now secure this goal after a number of years. And as Nico said, let's hope this is the right time once again to win the Champions League. We'll try and produce the perfect performance to reach this target.
News from Georgia. I know that you know so well Hucha Kvaratskhelia from Serie A. He was one of the best players in your Liga. And what can you say about tomorrow game against Hucha? It will be so big challenge for you to stop him in the pitch. And how can you to stop him? And what is the most popular player now in the Georgia? And we think that he attack so good in Paris Saint-Germain, and how it helped his team tomorrow's game, and what you can to say about Hucha. Thank you.
Bueno, la verdad que sí, conocemos el jugador, lo hemos enfrentado cuando jugamos contra... Oh, scusa, sto parlando spagnolo. Non parlo in georgiano, Conosciamo il giocatore, lui abbiamo affrontato tantissime volte.
We know the player very well. We've come up against him many times when he was playing for Napoli. He's a player with a great deal of ability. He likes 1v1s, he likes open space, so we need to keep an eye not only on him, but also on a whole host of players for Paris Saint-Germain that boast a lot of ability. We need to prepare well for this. We've got one final training session ahead of the match. We'll try and look at the final details, rest up and produce a best performance possible tomorrow night. That's what we want to do. Thank you.
Media siete Corriere della Sera, facciamo tutte e due, prego.
Allora vado io.
E poi passiamo al nostro allenatore Simone Inzaghi, le ultime due.
Okay, I'll go. Last 2 questions, then it's the head coach. I wanted to ask you, how much do you want to dedicate this success to your head coach, given that there have been a lot of rumors about his future in the press recently? So how keen are you to dedicate this trophy to him, the fact to show how much you care about Simone Inzaghi?
È una domanda che
There are rumors day in, day out, even about us. We're pretty relaxed because he's there with us. He's still here with us. And he works day in, day out to get the best out of the group of players, out of the team. We've prepared this week as we do every single week. And we might dedicate this trophy to him just like we would all of the fans and all of our families, because we all work together day in, day out to give our all. That's what this sport is like day in, day out. You need to get up every day, focus on getting better, developing. And we'll definitely give 100%, not only for him and our families, but for the fans as well. Final question. Hi, Lauti. We also wanted to know how relaxed you are. You spoke about a personal moment at the media day. That you were thinking about your family, your grandmother far away. And can you come back to the qualities of this group of players? You listed some of them because you need to thank Inter just as Inter need to thank you, but for what reason? Right from day one. Inter have treated me as if I were born here, so I'll always thank them. I always thank them for everything they've done for me, and I try to do so with my performances out there on the pitch, giving 110% for this jersey, for these colours. And ultimately what matters is silverware. Tomorrow we have the opportunity to bring home a hugely important trophy, and we'll try to prepare as best we can, me, my teammates, the head coach, and we'll try and savour and relish this occasion because it's hard to make it here. We've grafted a great deal, we've worked a great deal, and we deserve once again to be here to savour this occasion, this match. Thank you, Lautaro Martinez. Let's now move on to our head coach, Simone Inzaghi. We'll start up the front. Hi, Simone. I wanted to ask you, on the eve of the Istanbul Champions League final, you weren't considered favourites because Manchester City were seen as almost unbeatable. But things panned out a little bit differently on the pitch, even though ultimately you lost the final. Now people are talking about a 50-50 toss of a coin. But I wanted to ask you, what sort of Inter side are you coaching at the moment? What sort of season has it been? Because when the goings got tough this term due to absentees, do you think that Inter have come through that? You're a stronger side. Do you think you now can compete against anyone and beat anyone? In terms of 2 years ago, compared with that, what we learned from Istanbul was our preparation in terms of how to approach the final. In the days leading up to match day -1, the training sessions that we had after the open media day to be ready to be here today. We know that every match is different. We've tried to really look at every last detail with a great deal of hard work, just as Nicolò, Barella and Lautaro Martinez have said. And touch wood, we've still got the final training session this evening. It looks like everyone is available for selection. And over the course of 59 matches this season, I think I've only had a full 23-man squad to pick from on 3 occasions, as I do tomorrow. So there's a lot of confidence for a head coach to have everyone to pick from. That's all you can ask as a gaffer. You know that you can count on anyone. You know that all of these players are Inter players, that they have been chosen with the club, the senior management. I'm pleased about that. Hi, Coach. I wanted to ask you whether after 4 years that you've been in the job, could this be the end, the crowning glory? You came in, you won the 20th league title. You said that this match would count towards your future, but could it also be the perfect ending to a cycle? As for my future, I'll answer you so that no one else asks me any more questions about this. Tomorrow is the Champions League final. I said this on Monday and Tuesday. The senior management are here. We'll have a chat next week in a very relaxed manner, and as ever, we'll always have the best interests of Inter at heart. But what I can say is it's hugely exciting before every Champions League match. And of course, when it's a final, it's a little bit different. We've fully deserved to be here because we've shown a great deal of desire right from match day one away at Manchester City, Arsenal, Leverkusen, Leipzig, Barcelona, Bayern Munich. They're all top-class opposition, and I think we are deservedly here in the knowledge that we're still one step shy. You can't hold anything against these players. They've always shown heart and desire out there. They've always identified with the colours, and they'll do so again tomorrow night. Hi, Simone. I apologise for my Italian. Speaking with Luis Alberto, who played for you at Lazio before the semi-final, he said to me that you are a really underappreciated, underrated coach. Do you believe that? And do you think Inter are also underrated in the Champions League? Thank you. As for Luis Alberto, he's a player who really performed well for me, always put a smile on my face. He was a top-class player. As for Inzaghi and Inter being underrated, I don't know. All I can say is that this team, that this group of players, that this squad have given me a great deal over 4 years. We've won a great deal. We've lost on the odd occasion, as occasionally happens in football. But I think we've always given everything out there on the pitch. We, the players, the staff, the fans. So we're absolutely proud to represent Inter, and we'll do so again tomorrow in the final act of this season's Champions League. This is a competition that I dreamed of playing when I was a kid. I didn't make it as a footballer. I only got as far as the Champions League quarter-finals, but thanks to this group of players, I've already managed to now be involved in 2 Champions League finals as a head coach. 2 years ago, you came into the game as underdogs against Manchester City and you produced that terrific performance. You were underdogs against Bayern and you went through. The same went for Barcelona. It's a little bit more even tomorrow in terms of the odds. Does that change your approach, and is that positive? And something else very quickly. What's the last thing you'll say to the players before you go out there on the pitch? As for the last thing that I'll say to the players before we go out there, I can't answer that at this stage. My heart will tell me what to say. As for who's favourites and underdogs, every game is a different kettle of fish. Matches don't come down to wage bills, turnover. It's players that go out there on the pitch. They know that they need to be very switched on and focused on every last detail. We know that often finals come down to key moments, big incidents. We were huge underdogs 2 years ago, but then our performance on the pitch showed that we went toe-for-toe with them, and maybe we might have deserved a bit more, despite the fact that we were up against Pep Guardiola and Manchester City and the best team in the world at that moment in time.
BBC Sports, Simone, I'm not sure if your language skills are as good as Lautaro's, but if you are able to give an answer in English, that would be fantastic. If you don't feel able, that's fine too. It's been a tough season in Serie A against Napoli. What have you seen over the past week from your players that has given you confidence going into tomorrow's final? Great that they're all physically there, but mentally, of course, very important.
Absolutely. The mental side of the game is important. The players have worked very well. And of course, we have left to one side the disappointment domestically. We said as much on Monday. We worked as best we could. The players are all available for selection. And then it comes down to me to pick my team tomorrow morning. I'll need to think about my starting 11. I've still got a few question marks, as I always do ahead of any game, but I've seen determination. There's not an obsession. We mustn't be obsessed with this. We need to be focused and determined to the right degree. And the players have shown me that over the last few days.
Good evening. Good evening, Coach. Radek Sedlmajer, Czech Republic. I have a question. Inter Milan have one of the oldest teams in the Champions League, around like 30 is the age. So I was wondering about the PSG is a young team, so there is a big difference. PSG is a fast team, so I was wondering what is the best option to play against Paris in the final tomorrow. Thank you so much.
As for our game plan, the head coach tries to envisage how the match might pan out, but it doesn't necessarily work out that way. We know the opposition they're up against. They're the best team in Europe when it comes to ball possession. They're a team packed full of quality. We're top in Serie A in terms of ball possession. We're one of the best in Europe on that score. So we'll need to make sure that we're very neat and tidy technically in terms of the way we move the ball. We need to keep possession and to make sure that Paris Saint-Germain have as little as the ball as possible, because in that area, as well as a number of different areas, they're a top-class team. Good evening, Coach. Inter produced an exceptional performance in this stadium in the quarter-final first leg, but there's one player that has won a great deal in this stadium, Benjamin Pavard. How is he? And could he start the game tomorrow? Pavard's fit. He's had some good training sessions. We're pretty positive about him. We still have one final training session today, and then we'll have our muscle activation session tomorrow morning. If Pavard is 100%, he will start. He's a very important player for us. We've missed him in recent times. He had an issue recently. He sustained an injury against Leipzig in the Champions League. So we lost him for a period during the season. He's now fit, and if he shows that he is fit, as he has done in recent days, he will start the game. I won't ask you the question in Spanish this time. This is a question I wanted to ask Lauti and you. What you're always talking about players coming in, coming out, agents, transfers. What influence does the head coach have in terms of keeping the players alongside them? As for this question, I was very explicit in requesting both Lautaro Martinez and Nicolò Barella alongside me. They're the captain and the vice-captain. They're two hugely important players for me and the team as a whole, because they're players that have been at Inter for a number of years. They really bleed black and blue, so they're hugely important. And when the time is right, they always make themselves heard. They've got the utmost respect for their teammates. Their teammates have huge respect for them, and I have blind faith in both of them. I wanted to ask you, compared with 2 years ago, the watchword might be self-belief. I wanted to ask you whether you believe that is the case, and what other qualities would you like to add with this dream so close? Self-belief, hard running, determination, cool heads. We could add a whole host of adjectives. Because to win an important match like this, you need absolutely everything. You need all of those fine margins and details that I've mentioned that we're trying to best prepare. Well, in the knowledge that we're up against a top-class team that are deservedly in the final, just like Inter. They've got incredible ability. They've got a top-class coach in the shape of Luis Enrique. I really admire him both as a head coach and indeed as a person. Last two questions. I wanted to ask you, 4 years is maybe a short spell, but can we talk about Inzaghi defining an era at Inter, and how could tomorrow night's result ultimately change the way your era is seen in Inter's club history and your future indeed? We know what an important game this is, and we know that winning or losing makes all the difference in the world. We've already been through that, both in good times and bad. Unfortunately, only in bad ways in the Champions League. We've triumphed and also despaired domestically when it comes to Serie A. So the players know what football can offer you. I'm well aware of that as well, because as a player and as a head coach, I've been through it all. And our greatest desire tomorrow is to try and put a big smile on our fans' faces tomorrow. We heard them yesterday. They were with us at the training ground, and we mustn't forget how good they've been to us. And we know that tomorrow, even though they won't necessarily be there physically, the entire Curva Nord will be behind us, so that because we've been working all together since Manchester City in September up until May, and we want to finish in the best possible way tomorrow in Munich. It's your second European Cup final, and we said many times that only Elenio Herrera was able to achieve that with Inter. How are you on the eve of this game? And what will you ask of yourself, of your captain, of your vice-captain, the players, ahead of a game which could really leave you, make your mark in history? I asked them for concentration, determination, but not obsession. We need to have cool minds, free heads to prepare the game as best we can. We know how you prepare certain matches. We have world champions in the squad. We have European champions in the squad. We've also learned how to build up to a Champions League final, which is a hugely important game, just as a World Cup final might be or a Euro final might be. So I think we've prepared for this game as best we can, and we know that tomorrow the match could come down to key moments and big incidents, and we need to make sure those go our way. Final question?
Ciao Simone, senti, mi sento di chiederti la stessa domanda.
I'd like to ask you the same question that I asked you ahead of Bayern and Barcelona, namely, you manage men. Where's your cut-off point between trying to round off a dream and the fear of not succeeding? We need to go out there, as I said earlier on, not with obsession, with determination and desire to win this game. We know that we're up against a very well-prepared team. They're very well drilled. They've got a lot of quality in the side. But we'll play to our own strengths as we always have done. Of course, we're very confident because of the run we've been in the Champions League. We've had a very tough run thus far, but thanks to that hard-running determination and heart, we've made it thus far, and we don't want to stop here. The players know everything, and we'll try and really harness all of that out there on the pitch so that we come off there having won it at full time. Thanks very much, everyone, and to Simone Inzaghi, Lautaro Martinez, Nicolò, Barella. See you tomorrow.
Training session will start shortly. Ciao, grazie.